And I'd like to welcome everybody to today's webinar, where we're going to be discussing the taught master's programs available through the UCD School of Geography. I'm delighted to have two academic colleagues join us here today. We have Professor Kath Brown and we have Dr. Federico Ferretti from the school. They'll both be taking us through the programs. There are 7 taught master's programs within the school, and they'll be able to answer any specific questions you have in relation to the programs. I'd like to introduce Professor Kath Brown, who's going to take you through our programs and a little bit about the profile of UCD School of Geography.
Thank you, Emma. I'm very excited to be able to introduce some of these programs to you. Very sorry that we can't see you face to face, but hopefully you'll get a good flavour of both the school and the enthusiasm we have for these programs. They're, you know, one of the key reasons that we love our jobs is teaching master's students. So hopefully you'll enjoy them as much as we do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm going to take you through the programs with a little PowerPoint slide, and you can ask questions, as Emma said, at the end. So one of the key things about geography in UCD is that we have a really excellent selection of master's programs. So we say one door, many paths. There's lots of choices that you can make through our programs. We have, as Emma said, 7 programs. We have 2 new programs that are starting this year, the MSc in Critical Geographies and the MSc in Risk, Resilience and Sustainability. And then we have our really well-established programs, which have been going for a number of years and offer really exciting prospects as well. And that's our MA in Geopolitics and the Global Economy, our MSc in Applied Geospatial Analysis, our MSc in Urban Environment, MSc in Development in the Global South, our MA in Geography, and then we share an MSc with Sociology called Demographic and Population Analytics. So the key thing I guess you're thinking is the master's right for you? So what we're going to do today is, sorry, we're not going to speak to current students, but we're going to find out more about the courses. So why do you think, or why do we think it's important to study geography at master's level, and what does UCD offer? Well, UCD, we often talk about ourselves as shaping the future. And this is because geography allows us to think both from the past into the future. It gives us skills that develop depth and breadth of geography, and we want to make a difference using approaches, conceptual tools, and applied skills delivered by leading experts in the field. And we have a fantastic array of experts in our staff, all of whom are research active. And what that means is they're not just following other people's research, they're actually creating the new knowledge themselves. They're creating the understandings. So you get to, on these programs, stay up to date on the research and the most advanced knowledge in the fields. We won't just present it, presenting research to you, but we're at the forefront of creating the research ourselves. And again, you won't just learn about it. It's not just about telling you what the research is. You will be given skills and an opportunity to chart your own course, to think about how you want to change the world, what difference you want to make, and design and deliver. Across all our programs, you get to design and deliver your very own project. And some people choose these projects because of the careers they offer, and some people choose these projects because of what excites them and interests them. We have exciting field trips in all our programs, and in-field and hands-on practical learning, obviously as safely as possible within these current times. But we have the option of international field trips or internships, and each master's course offers you a slightly different opportunity to put the knowledge in the classroom into practice, applying it to our contemporary worlds to consider these new futures. What might we want the future to look like? And of course, one of the key reasons to do a master's is to think about your future career prospects. And I always tell the story that I was going to be a PE teacher before somebody said, why don't you do a social and cultural geography master's? And I'm now a professor at UCD. So you don't know where these master's courses will take you. And that's part of the point of doing it, to explore, to expand your options, to expand your horizons. So your passion to study and research what you care about will open new career avenues, open new possibilities for you. And some of the different ways in which or places people have ended up in the different sectors. You've got the voluntary sector, conservation officer, different forms of voluntary in terms of the environment, civil society, thinking about landscape architecture, development officers, and also the public sector. And again, our courses aren't saying you will be this by the end of it. They're saying, what would you like to be, and how could you use your degree and your master's to be the best you can be. We offer significant support in terms of UCD geography. So there is a master's competition for our geography undergraduates, and then there are other study abroad scholarships and global excellence scholarships. And we are really keen to speak to people. So one of the things that our master's students say about us is that we're very friendly, we're very open, and we're very supportive. And we want to support and advise you and offer help and guidance where we can. So to give you, to give you a bit of detail about each of the courses, then it's very strange to do this without having your feedback, so I can't tell if you're laughing at my jokes or not. But to give you a bit of feedback then, so the first module, or the first master's, is the master's that I'm leading, and I can't tell you how excited I am about these masters. This master's, it's the first in the world that we can find. It's the MSc in Critical Geographies, and the whole point of this is to explore the power relations that shape our everyday world. And the key thing there is power relations shape everything that we do all the time, but they shape them in particular places. And we're going to talk, I bet, a lot about coronavirus and different things, but one of the key things we want to do is actually engage where your interests are as well. So we're interested in thinking about, where do you think the key power relations are in the world? How might we address them using our expertise, and how might we give you the skills to understand how place, environment and landscape are central to shaping the futures, informed by our cutting edge research and contemporary critical engagements. Leading experts, we have leading experts in the department, including around anarchism, geopolitics, global south, feminism, and queer geographies, artificial intelligence, health and urban studies. So as you can see, the breadth of what is possible is quite fantastic. And so you don't have to specialize, and we would encourage you to kind of keep your mind open around what you might choose. There's a choice of 3 different field trips to Brussels, London, or to Vietnam. And this will be about where your interests lie, which one you choose. And then again, you get to follow your own research path. And I'll say this for all the masters, but this is a crucial part of every single master's, is actually that we give you the skills so that you are able to take that forward as part of a research project. And that's supervised on a one-to-one basis. We work with you directly to make sure that you're given the support and skills that you need. The next one then is the MA in Geopolitics and Global Economy. And here this is about exploring worldwide political and economic changes, particular crises and events. And as you can imagine, recent crises and events will play a big part in this as well. It's the chance to acquire critical skills for analysing public policies at micro and macro scales on a number of different issues. So it's not about focusing in one area, but thinking about lots of different areas. And thinking about these internationally emerging and growing fields of critical, radical and subaltern geopolitics. So really taking us to the edge of where people's thinking is, not just focusing on these kind of macro states, but actually thinking about how we might rework geopolitics itself. And the annual field trip to Brussels is a massive highlight of this course. Students get to speak to people who are working, to civil servants who are working in the UN, and it's really, really exciting. And again, you get to follow your own research path with your own research project. Then we have the applied geospatial analysis here. It's about practical GIS and remote sensing skills applicable to social, economic and environmental sciences. So the two things that are really important there is thinking about just the skills themselves and the GIS, the concepts behind GIS, but also how you might apply them and what you might do to make social, economic and environmental, or to use it in practice. So practical skills very much sought after in the workplace. And I know it tells us that she gets numerous requests for these graduates every year. So this is, you know, a really good kind of straight into workplace masters, if that's where your interest is. You get to apply spatial data and technology for problem solving to better inform decisions and make a difference on our planet and society. And here again comes back to the whole ethos of the department, to shape the future, to think not just how can I do GIS, but how can I use GIS to make the world a better place. You get this fantastic program of interacting guest speakers from government to industry. And I know it is really well connected into these areas. She worked I think for a decade in environmental industry. And so she's got these fantastic connections that she's able to draw on and bring in. So real experts in the field. Not only that, but you have access to a paid internship in a Dublin-based GIS firm or a fully funded GIS teaching internship in Vietnamese universities. And this is about upskilling and being part of this digital workforce, and a fantastic opportunity to do that. And I know I produced some of these videos, so we have some videos you can check out on our YouTube account showing the different ways in which GIS is used, and also obviously the amazing maps that you can create and that actually have a kind of policy impact. The MSc in Development in the Global South. So here we're looking beyond Europe, although all our courses do this, but with a specific focus on the global socio-economic inequalities and how they're experienced and responded to in particular places. Again, a key focus on contemporary debates, worldwide debates on things like decoloniality, what happens after colonialism, and how might we challenge the power relations that are created, post-development, Southern theory, political ecology. Key is gaining a consciousness and an understanding of the world's diversity, linguistic, ethnic, and cultural. A fantastic opportunity with this master's is to be involved in the Irish aid-funded project where you undertake fieldwork in Vietnam, and a certain number of students have that fieldwork paid for. You also have opportunities to undertake exchanges with universities in Latin America, Vietnam, and Mozambique. And again, in this master's, you follow your own research, both when you go to Vietnam, but also beyond that, in thinking about your data collection and the creation of something that no one else knows. So your own research path is about creating something, making research about something we don't yet know, and that's very exciting. As you see, some fantastic opportunities, just some pictures there around the different kind of opportunities that students have had over the years in the different areas that have been studied. The MSc then in urban environment, Niamh leads this MSc, and she is a leading scholar in the urban environment. And she really believes and is passionate about needing to understand and engage in urban environments, because 60% of the global population live in these urban environments. And she, is passionate both in her research and in her teaching about thinking about how you improve the living environment. And it's a few points down, but she does this fantastic module where you get to work with organizations, with industry, with the council, in thinking about a real world collaborative practice-based project. But it's not, just based in Dublin. It is a globally focused project as well. And this is another unique master's program to UCD. It's focused on the urban environment, but it integrates the human and the physical side. So it allows an exploration both of urban rivers and the pollution associated with that, as well as thinking about how people live in cities and how we might create better planning processes. Again, you get to participate in an overseas field trip, usually to London, and this is about applying knowledge, creating new skills, as well as building international networks. And you get to follow your own research path, with the research project, again, supervised on a one-to-one basis. And here are some, one of Niamh's projects is called a Play City, and thinking about how cities create play areas and how that is important, not just for children, but for adults as well. And you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner some of one of the spaces that we teach in. And so the MSc in Demography, Demographic and Population Analytics that's produced jointly with Sociology, this is half and half. So you spend half your time with sociology and half your time with geography. The purpose is to gain an interdisciplinary perspective on the population processes that shape our modern society. And here, there are some key issues in population that you need to understand: mortality, health, migration, fertility, and the sustainability of population growth. And this is about technical and theoretical approaches. So you do develop R programming and GIS skills. There's a lot of quantitative analytics that go on in this program. But the key thing is understanding how these population processes are important for both future policy and for planning. And you'll be one of the first cohorts of demographers with population studies. And actually those two things, you know, you need one to have the other. In order to understand demography, you have to understand population studies. And you get to follow your own research path, again, with a supervisor. And some, again, some graphics around population studies and the kind of population predictions and what that means. And of course, again, with our current situation, populations and where they reside are kind of very important skills to have. The MSc in Risk, Resilience and Sustainability is run by Jackie Croak. She is the head of school, so she got different slides to everyone else. Everyone else listens, she got different slides. So she what is, you know, the whole point of the MSc in Risk Resilience is both understanding risk and also how human beings adapt to risk to create more sustainable worlds, and the ways in which we might work to create sustainable worlds. As we know, the Australian fires and all of these kind of risks have created a massive impacts both on the landscape and on human lives, and this is a chance to understand them. Climate-related issues dominated all of the top 5 long-term risks in terms of likelihood. And again, in relation to the coronavirus and things like that, we still have this climate discussion going on. It's still a central plank of how we understand risk in our contemporary world, and of course the future, and thinking about how we might shape it. So we have this world-class facility. The MSc is taught across earth sciences and geography, and so it offers this interdisciplinary understanding of natural sciences and social sciences, human and physical. You can't separate one from the other in understanding these processes. It's experiential, it's skill-based, it's problem-solving, and it includes an aspect of GIS and remote sensing and critical thinking, including independent research. Again, there will be a chance for overseas fieldwork, and career opportunities include in international organizations, the UN, European Environment Agency, European Commission, government departments, state agencies, NGOs, civil servants, as well as advising industry. This is one of these masters that is critical, you know, as we move forward in thinking about the world. We actually need to understand the risk and resilience around climate change. And if you haven't quite decided what you want to do, we have a master's for you as well. So if you think, actually, I like a bit of all of those, then the master's for you is the MA in Geography. And this develops a range of knowledge necessary to shape more sustainable worlds. And it offers experience of geography as an integrated discipline. So it allows you to do both the human and the physical, but a bit more flexibly than some of the other options. In the other options, you do have to obviously do a module on sustainability. You have to do your modules on geopolitics or critical geography, whereas the MA offers a bit more flexibility, but includes the overseas field trip opportunity. It does give you the key skills, so you do have to do GIS, you have to do research, you have to do your independent project, as well as the team working skills, which are essential really in any kind of program. But the idea of the MA in Geography is that it gives you that physical and human together. So that is me. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
But we had a few questions that came in advance, and I'd just like to put it to Federico and yourself, Kath.
Yeah.
So just a little bit, I suppose, firstly, we've had questions about the COVID-19 situation and how the university was responding. And I suppose just to that point, as UCD, we remain committed to delivering the best face-to-face teaching and campus experience for our prospective students who are coming into us within the public health guidelines, of course. And we're continuing to make preparations to welcome all our incoming students in September. And we'll be providing a blend of online delivery with small group interactions, with lectures and access to library and the essential services and university facilities within UCD, again, within public health guidelines. And so for our graduate students, the academic calendar for the autumn trimester will commence on the 21st of September for a 12-week term. And I suppose just with all things, this is a fluid situation, and we are updating on a weekly basis in terms of how the delivery of modules will be implemented in each school, and they will be school specific. But we do have a webpage on our UCD main site, which has all the most up-to-date information on our COVID-19. And I'm going to pop that in the chat box now for students, along with some other links as well. But if Kathy, if you want to elaborate on any of those points for this.
Yeah, so we had a meeting on Friday as a school, and we have decided that where possible we will deliver, well, I don't know if Federico should say this, but we will deliver face-to-face masters teaching within public health guidelines, obviously with social distancing and things like that. But we're committed as much as possible to see you face-to-face. We see that as an important element. And just to say, in terms of GIS in the labs, we're also committed to giving you the best access that we can, again, within public health guidelines. So we're working out our processes and procedures to make sure that you're fully supported.
Great. So we're just moving on to some of the questions. In terms of the geospatial analysis, there's a question here in terms of the internship. Is it an integral part of the syllabus?
Federico.
That one?
It is not exactly a matter with the syllabus, but with the general curriculum. So you have several options for internships. And it is something that you can define at the beginning of the academic year in agreement with the the program leader, who is our colleague Inoa Gonzalez. So I think that there is some time for defining this. It is not an initial requirement. For any further query or discussion on that, if you wish to have already a chat on this specific point, either with us, either directly with the program leader, we can also arrange this in the next few days, in the case, not a problem.
Right. And another question that came in just on our geospatial analysis. Are the part-time modules during the day or in the evening or both?
But this is a matter which concerns all our modules, so not uniquely geospatial analysis. It is a query that we have already received sometimes. So basically the part-time option is an option to split the modules over 2 years instead of just 1 year. Only the modules are the same and the modules are delivered at the same time as the others. So basically the difference with the part-time is that if you, with the full-time is that if you take a part-time option, you will negotiate to take a couple of modules per semester instead of taking 3 or 4 modules per semester, possibly concentrating the workload for your thesis on the second year. But the time for delivering all our graduate modules are generally from Monday to Thursday in the morning or in the afternoon. Unluckily not in the evening for those who maybe would require this arrangement, but at least it will not be for this year.
Okay, right. And Kath, maybe regarding the Master in Geopolitics and the Global Economy, is the internship mandatory?
I'm not sure there is an internship with the Masters in Geopolitics and Global Economy, but the field trip is mandatory. So, none of the internships, to my understanding, are mandatory. But the field trips are mandatory because we see them as a critical part of pushing your skills into the field and being able to actually do it before we send you out to do your own research project. So it's kind of this guided learning that isn't about just the classroom learning. Should I answer that last one that's come up as well?
Yes, the field trip, yes.
So at the moment, we are planning to deliver the field trips. Obviously, we have to wait. The good thing is all our field trips are delivered in February and March. So actually, we've got a bit of time before we will need to make decisions. And we honestly don't know the world we're going to live in February and March, so we can't say. What happened this year was that the Brussels field trip went ahead just before the closures came in, and then the London field trip, which was at the end of March, became a virtual field trip. So, you know, not quite exactly what we were planning, but we are innovative and we are thinking of different ways of doing it. So Niamh ran that as a virtual field trip and gave a kind of the full content, and tried, you know, and did as much of the kind of interactive elements. And the feedback from the students was that it was good, you know, but as Emma's saying, we're going to try our best to deliver everything face to face. Within public health guidelines. I wonder how many times we'll say that.
Great. And we have a question here just regarding a participant who's coming from a commercial and financial risk background. Is it necessary to have a science-based degree to take the MSc Risk, Resilience and Sustainability?
Federico, I don't think.
Federico, in terms of the prerequisites for entry.
There are no specific entry requirements other than a good BA in some either geography, either topics related to geography, planning, earth sciences, or curricula including subjects related to the specific program. So there are no close or strict requirements in this sense. There is a general assessment of the transcripts. So if you think that your curricula has a general consistency with what we are delivering, should be okay.
I would say it also depends on what you've done in your industry as well, and you know what brings you to be interested in it. So it might be that you want to make a case that actually you didn't do that for your degree, but here's what you've been doing in your industry employment, and actually we would listen to that case as well. So you know, we understand that people come from diverse backgrounds. That's not just a kind of necessarily a linear path, and especially at master's level, people can get interested in something that they would not have been interested in when they were 18 and choosing what leaving cert, you know, what to do with their leaving cert results. So what I would suggest is get in touch with us with your specific case, and we will talk to you directly. And you know, Jackie Croak, who is, you know, more than keen really about this master's, very excited about it, would be really happy to talk you through what the requirements might be and how to support yourself to do it. I guess to think about, if you do this, you might need to just over the summer read up on this or sort this out, or make sure you have an understanding of that, and that will then make sure that it's something that's possible for you to do and that you feel comfortable coming in September.
And we have another question about the field trips for critical geographies. What they cover.
So the field trips for critical geography are basically the Global South field trip. So you can go to Vietnam, you can go to London, or you can go to Brussels. So it's about where your focus and interest is. Obviously, you know, the critical element of those will be where your interest is, and the field trips will accommodate the people who are on it. It's very hard to describe it. When you come and do your courses, part of who you are creates the course itself, part of what you're interested in. And that's very, very true of field trips, because your interest will take you in a certain place, and we will support you then to develop that kind of thinking and interest. So for example, on the London field trip, you might be really interested in inequality gaps, or you might be interested in sexuality, or you might be interested in gender. And of course, in London, there's so many ways to look at all those different things, as well as in Vietnam in a very, very different way, and even in Brussels, and thinking about that too. So, you know, those are your field trip options, but what you bring to the course matters as well.
Yes, I would add also that normally the choice of the field trip is associated also with the choice of the subject for your thesis. Yeah. So it is clear that you will have discussed in advance this matter with your thesis supervisor, who is assigned during the first trimester, and with the coordinator of the relevant field trip, which will be in the second trimester. So to basically take advantage in the best way of this opportunity, because the field trip gives effectively also the possibility of doing some personalized fieldwork for your own thesis.
And we just have a question here in terms of the deadlines to apply for September 2020. Federico, if you'd like to take that one.
Yes, but in principle, as soon as possible. Then it is clear that we will have a specific period in which we will consider conditional offers and acceptances. So in most cases, internal students who have applied but who still need to finish their BA, and so the data will be available by mid-July in principle. But we would like to have this as the really ultimate term to assess applications. So if you can apply by next month, it would be really ideal. Even by tomorrow, even more ideal.
Great, thank you. So I think what we'll do is we will, if there's no more questions, we'll wrap up the session now. And I'd like to thank you all for attending today. And I'd especially like to thank Kath Brown and Federico Ferretti for their really insightful information about the programs. And I will be reaching out to all participants with the link to the webinar. As I said, it was recorded today if you'd like to refer back to the content again, and I will provide the links that we have provided today in the chat box. So from all of us here at UCD and colleagues in the UCD School of Geography, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you.
Thank you.